Next question for Mr. Smith. Here's one. Let us know how you propose to fix Obamacare.
Is there a multiple choice? Or? I asked Ted Cruz, I guess I would start. I don't know that at this point in the game, I mean, I think our federal delegation have done all that they can in terms of stopping that in its place. And how you would do it, certainly if I was in United States Congress, I would have joined the ranks of our federal delegation and stood up and said, no, we're not going to fund this, or no, we're not going to go ahead with this. Yes, if it must be, then we have to put all these restrictions on it. That is exactly why I fought in the state level to prevent Obamacare from coming to the state of Arizona. And I had that debate for about 4 hours, and it ended at 3:30 in the morning on one fateful night, and it passed, which is unfortunate. So this year we had legislation intact to repeal it. I think it's, I don't think the words Obamacare and whether it's federal or Arizona ever match. It doesn't make it a good thing. Well, it's good in the state, but it's bad for the country. No, it's the same thing. It's the same idea. It's just either statewide or times 50. And that's the idea. So I would just continue to do on the state level all that I have and all that I will continue to do to try to repeal it. But federally, you know, boy, I guess you just have to side with Cruz and Paul and all those others that stood up there, and whether it was a filibuster or whatever it took to stop it. Speed round, ready? Internet sales tax. Can't do it state by state, can't do it piecemeal, you have to do it federal. If it's ever going to happen, it's got to come. This is the one thing that does have to come from the top down federal government. Why? Arizona, any other state can enact all the taxes they want on the internet, but again, guess what people start doing? They start buying things online from other states. And then we lose that revenue in this state because we don't want to pay the tax, and we just go ahead and buy it from California or Texas or our neighbor, we have it shipped to us. Bad idea, it's got to come from the top down. HER funds, myself and the Speaker of the House signed on to a bill to restore those funds this year. It was not in the governor's budget, so unfortunately that's going to be just another fight we're going to have with the governor this year, and hopefully we get those funds restored in there. Last thing, the water issue. I was at the initial meetings, or at least some of the initial meetings about this crisis. If you don't know about it, it's basically trying to take the groundwater credits that the people that live here have. I introduced a bill this year to repeal all of that. I will continue to fight to do that. Thank you.
It's said Arizona is going to be back in the red starting 2016. Your thoughts?
It's unfortunate. And I disapprove of the budget that was passed last year. That was a budget that was basically stolen from us. Sorry. I reviewed the budget this year. When the budget came out, I sat down in our committee and looked at the governor's proposal. Do you know that at the end of 16-17, the budget is projected to be over $10 billion? That's our future. My first few years in the Senate, we did $1 billion in cuts to be balanced. We actually had a structurally balanced budget. We had a $3 billion deficit, and we got all the way down. And now, unfortunately, it seems like when you ever got a little bit of money in your pocket, it just burns a hole through people's pockets. Fortunately, I was one of the opposition that actually was resulting in having a rainy day fund. 2 years ago in the Senate, when the governor passed down a budget that would have spent our entire rainy day fund, there was 21 Republican senators in the Senate. There's 30 senators, right? So if it takes 16 to pass a bill, and there was 21 Republican senators, there was 15 of them that wanted to side with the governor's budget that would have spent us straight into the red in 14. And myself and 5 other senators said, no, that's not going to happen. And we were able to block that bad budget and actually keep us balanced for another year or two. But we can't block them all if we don't have the help down there. And so unfortunately, in this new budget that just came down the pike, to the tune of about $10 billion coming up, we can't afford, ladies and gentlemen. We can't afford it. That's eerily reminiscent of the Napolitano budgets that's got us in this problem. So what did I do about it? This year, every year I ran it. The governor's vetoed it, but it doesn't matter, I keep running it. It's called the Truth in Spending Bill. It says if the legislature is going to pass a budget more than what we take in effect, we're going to have a hearing about it and make sure all you know about it before we do it. Unfortunately, that was vetoed, but I still keep running it. Okay, lightning round. Common Core, I voted against it. I'll continue to vote against it. I don't like it for a myriad of reasons. And the fact that I have to answer 4 questions in a minute, I'll get into those later. Hospitals for illegals. You know, I've run a bill, well, I guess 3 years, to do just the very thing that Irene Littleton asked for. What's the first thing that happens to us if we show up to an emergency room? You get handed a clipboard and they say, information please. Let me see your health insurance card, let me see your ID, right? Well, when that clipboard comes back blank, right, all I wanted them to do, I wrote bills saying this, I want our hospital administration to ask them, are you in the country legally? We're not going to deny care, we're not going to kick them out. You have federal rules, I'm telling others that you can't do that. But I want a data collecting bill to do that. And then when I talked to the hospital directors, and I said, how much money is in the hospitals that is unfunded because of this population? Well, they didn't give me the answer, but they told me who paid for it. All of us. And I said, gee, that's why my Blue Cross bill goes up $500 each year. And so I think I got most of them in there. Thank you.
All right. What have you identified as wasteful spending and unnecessary regulations?
Medicaid expansion and Common Core. Yeah, I mean, our budget is wrought with it. It's wrought with it. And that's why year after year I stand up against these ridiculous budgets. You know, government's not supposed to be all things to all people. Government's not supposed to be, right, this wheelchair for people. At times it can be a crutch, but it's not supposed to give you everything you wanted. What's the old adage? If the government's big enough to give you everything you ever wanted, what? They're big enough to take it away.
That's right.
Right? We can't be reliant continually, whether it's our state government, local, or federal. You can't. And that's why year after year, I'm named champion of the taxpayer, hero of the taxpayer, and all, because I'm not going to stand for it. And I don't care who the governor is, or I don't care who my colleagues are. If I think it's a bad budget or bad spending, I am not voting for it. I had the dubious, a member of the media came up to me and said, hey, do you know, and I said, oh, this is good. He said, do you know that you have the most votes against Republican bills than anybody else? And what that means is, so when a Republican bill goes up, other than Democrats, I'm the one that votes against them the most. And I said, oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. And he says, really, why is that? I said, because it doesn't matter if there's an R next to the bill or a D next to the bill. That doesn't make it a good or bad bill. Is it a constitutional bill? Let's do our little litmus test. Constitutional? Yes or no? Is it needed? Yes or no? Or, you know, could somebody else be doing it? You know how many bills I've saved us from having to write by just having stakeholder groups? People come to me and say, hey, can you write a bill for this? No, I'm not going to write a bill for that. Get the people in here, sit them down, and figure it out. You guys are big boys and girls, go do it. I'm not going to write more legislation for it, and a lot of times we fix things that way. But that's the problem with government. People think they can just keep writing more bills and writing more checks to fix things, and it is not that way. Thank you. Immigration reform, I think I am the #1 advocate in the state when it comes to immigration policy and stopping illegal immigration. I can talk at length about that if needed. It's the fact that I got 17 seconds left, K through 12 and the $2 billion, I'm going to combine into one. The $2 billion, for the last 3 years, I've worked with Superintendent Hoopendahl and others about a performance pay model for teachers. I am of the understanding, you pay teachers what they're worth, you get better results with the kids in their class. So I'd like to see some of that money go into that type of program. Thank you.